Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Around the Corner. And today I have with me Lizzie Reimer. She is a counselor in the Fayetteville area and she is the owner of Era Counseling. Lizzie, welcome. Um,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I'm excited that you're here and that we're gonna get to talk about your practice. It's fun because you and I went to undergrad together. We were like in the same sorority, and then we did graduate school together, and we've kind of just stayed connected over the years. And so it's really cool getting to like see your practice like grow and flourish and become what it is. So
Same to you. Yeah. I mean, you were a huge inspiration for me to go out on my own and just be able to be my own boss. And I'm never going back. So thank you for your support.
yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that I've gotten to be a part of that journey. Yeah, and that feels sweet to hear too. So thank you. Well, for those that don't know, like tell us a little bit about you and what Era Counseling is.
Yeah. So I am originally from Dallas and I moved up here to Northwest Arkansas to go to undergrad at the U of A and then went to JBU with Sarah to do my graduate degree in clinical mental health counseling. And I did the emphasis in play therapy. So I have some play therapy training and love Northwest Arkansas. Have definitely like made it my home and have no intentions of leaving anytime soon. So I just love being in the area. It's a good place to be. Feels very authentic to who I am. And I started Era Counseling in October of 2023. So we're not quite at the year mark yet. But right after graduation, went into working at a group private practice and just kind of found that I was being undervalued and undersold and undersupported in my journey as an associate counselor. And so some opportunities came up via networking that I was able to take the jump into solo private practice. And I absolutely love it and would not trade it for the world. Just having the flexibility of being able to set my own schedule and be completely autonomous and in charge of any monies that are coming in and out. I just feel really secure about my place career wise because of that. But yeah, Era Counseling is my private practice, and I specialize in work with eating disorders. I am under supervision working on the process toward becoming a certified eating disorder specialist. That's a 2,500 hour certification that I'm working towards, and I just love that work. I'm passionate about particularly subclinical disordered eating, so people that present with some kind of distress about food or their relationship with their body, but they don't necessarily meet criteria for anorexia or bulimia or binge eating disorder explicitly. Not that I don't work with those diagnoses, but I just have this particular passion for the subclinical. I think that there's not a person on this planet that hasn't been affected by some kind of disordered eating at some point or another. And so sitting with people as they examine and unpack those things and getting to the place where they can experience more freedom around food in their body is really fulfilling work to me. So that's where my passion is, but I also work with, you know, all kinds of other presenting issues, anxiety, depression, trauma. I'm EMDR trained, so I do see quite a bit of trauma as well. But yeah, I like the variety that I have on my caseload. I work with ages 12 and up, have a good variety of ages that I work with, and that's been really good for my like work life balance too. It's just feeling like it's not the same session over and over again. There's less variety in the work that I do. So I feel like that was a really long-winded answer, but
No, I love it. That's great. You gave a good picture of what Era Counseling is, and yeah, I love that you are specializing in eating disorders. And it was really neat hearing you say like subclinical because there's a need for both, and obviously you work with both, but sometimes what can be an added source of wounding and trauma is having disordered eating, but not being given a diagnosis can really like be invalidating, be
Right.
dismissive of someone and the things that they're experiencing. And so for you to really come alongside those people and say, hey, like what you're experiencing is real. And just because maybe you didn't fit these very specific qualifications that would determine a diagnosis doesn't mean that you're not experiencing something real and something important that needs attention.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And um, tell us, where specifically are you located? How could people find you?
So I'm in Springdale. I am located at a house on 48th Street. It's called the Therapy House, and there's actually four other therapists that office with me in this house. We're not a group practice. We're all independently, like legally independent entities, but it is nice, like being in a house with other therapists and knowing, like, if I have a hard session, I can go grab one of them and kind of consult with them. But yeah, Springdale, address is 109 North 48th Street, on the west side of 49.
Nice. And I've been to the therapy house and it really is such a cool place. Like, and I love that you guys are all like doing your own independent things, but you all are sharing a space so you can support one another and really lean on each other, which is super cool. And that house is like just so like bright and warm and welcoming. And so um, just having been there, I know that when clients go in there, I'm sure that they just feel like so welcomed. And so I love that you're there and that you can offer that to people in the area.
Sure. Yeah, no, when I was like first starting out doing the private practice thing, like back in October, before I really had like much of a caseload at all, I would come and like do admin work at the therapy house because I was like, it's so bright and well renovated, and like I just feel comfortable and at home here. And I hope that that comes across to clients when they walk in.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's so good. We're kind of like plants. We all really just want a lot of warmth and light and water, and we're gonna do well in those spaces. So I love that. Um, so you mentioned kind of your areas of focus, but that kind of also leads into this question of kind of in this process of talking with different therapists. I've been addressing this question of, okay, how would you specifically define what counseling is? Because everybody defines it a little bit differently, but also, for clients, especially if they've never been to therapy, counseling can kind of seem like this very mystical, scary process of like, what is going to happen to me? What are we about to do? So, yeah, could you kind of help give us a picture of what counseling is and how you would define it?
Yeah, that's a very fascinating question because it does kind of look different depending on like the therapist and what modalities they practice in and what makes them feel most confident and competent to be able to practice. And for me, I think that goes back to I consider myself to be a person-centered therapist. Person-centered therapy was developed by a man named Carl Rogers, and he was very strengths-based in his approach. He viewed humans very positively and said that essentially people are the experts in their own experience and they already come to the counseling process with all the tools that they need to be able to heal. And a therapist is just coming alongside the person that's doing the work to be a mirror and a guide and a reflector for what is already good within that person. So for me, like, and that's something that we get hammered on in school is like you will find a theory that really fits authentically with who you are as a counselor, and then that will be your roadmap that you come back to whenever you get lost in the counseling session. Like, come back to theory. What does your theory say? And so I think my view of counseling is really informed by being that person-centered therapist. So that would be like my counselor educated answer to it. But then the way that I explain things to clients, especially clients who've never been to therapy before, I'll say in my first session, like, hey, therapy's super weird. I'm a stranger, and you just dumped all of this really vulnerable information with no reason to trust me at all. And that's really scary. And we're going to continue to get to know each other over the next couple of sessions, but you may find that I'm just not the right fit for you. That doesn't mean that I'm a bad counselor. It doesn't mean that you're a bad client, which bad clients don't exist. But like, if someone would internalize that as like, I'm a bad client or whatever, like, it's not about that. It's just like, finding a therapist is like dating. You want to find somebody who you are comfortable with, because you're going to be sharing the most vulnerable parts of your life story with them. So if you get these feelings of like ick, or something just doesn't feel right, like, again, you're the expert in your own experience. You're allowed to tap into that and say, like, you know what, this isn't the right fit for me. And I may not be able to articulate like what exactly is off here or what exactly I'm looking for. I just know that this isn't the right fit. And so I want clients to be able to seek out people that are going to be the right fit for them. So that's kind of how I explain like finding the right fit for a therapist. But yeah, I mean, I would say experientially, when we're in the counseling room, a lot of times, especially for me as a person-centered therapist, like therapy just looks like we're just chatting.
Mm.
And to someone who doesn't have clinical training or experience, that may not seem very valuable. But as a therapist, I know like I am asking particular questions in a particular way that are very theory informed, they're very empirically informed. And even though it feels like we're just chatting, I hope that there's more depth and more growth that you can feel coming out of these conversations than what you would feel with like just chatting with a friend.
Yeah. Man, I feel like you really went at that at a bunch of different angles that was super uniform and helpful of, defining it, what it's like for you theoretically, and how that then informs how you talk about it with the people you're working with, how that will end up translating practically in the room. Um, which is so good. And I really loved what you said about like, hey, you just like shared a bunch of stuff with a stranger. Like, I think we forget that, you know, how vulnerable and kind of weird it is that we're just like, hey, um, I've never met you before. You don't know anything about me, but why don't you just tell me everything that's going on, all your deepest, darkest hurts, secrets, life stories, and this is supposed to help you. Like,
Yeah.
kind of a weird sell. But it does have a benefit, and I love that you're really wanting to help your clients be very informed in the process that they are signing up for, and that it's something that they really want. Like, if this isn't a good fit, let's find you something else. Like, my heart is to help you in whatever that looks like, whether it's with me or somebody else, and which is so amazing. And um, the last thing I thought about was when you were talking about Rogers, Carl Rogers, and his person-centered theory. Like, one of the images that he kind of describes is like an acorn growing into a tree, and that really clients were, or really just people in general, we're acorns, and we need a good uh, environment, a nice, tender, rich soil to grow in order to become full, really developed trees that are deeply planted and rooted. And so, what I hear you saying is just like, hey, you've already got everything you need within you to become this amazing tree. And all I'm going to do is just like tend to the soil wherever you're planted so that you can do that, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Such a cool job that we just get to like talk to people and find like investigate, like attack those strengths. Like I'm gonna relentlessly pursue the awesome things that I see in you so that you can see those things for yourself and grow into who you are authentically. And watching people go through that journey is really, really special.
Yeah. And what a powerful thing too, where most of the time in the world we encounter so many obstacles, so many things and experiences that are telling us that, we're not good enough. There's something wrong with us. We're crazy. We're never going to make it past this. Whatever that message is, they're usually very negative. And so to
Yeah.
have a space where you're like, no, like I literally am going to tell you so often how amazing you are. Like, and all the strengths that you have that you've maybe been told are your curses. I'm going to show you like, wow, these are your superpowers, which um it's just so sweet and healing and makes me just like smile thinking about all the people that you get to encounter and that get to like be affirmed and empowered through their time with you.
Yeah. And I had like my strengths being kind of misconstrued as your curses or your vices. Like one of the things that I've been or was insecure about for a really long time was that I'm a really sensitive person. And my first counselor came alongside me and said, like, wait, who told you that being sensitive was a bad thing?
Mm,
And I've been able to reclaim that part of my identity as like, well, being sensitive means that I'm emotionally aware and intelligent and able to like pick up on things that are going on relationally or with other people, and to come alongside them and say like, hey, I see you, I hear you. So being sensitive is not a bad thing. So I mean, I've had a counselor do that with me, and it's such an honor to be able to do that with other people.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And it really is like I think that's part of the beauty of being a counselor too, is that a lot of times what we get to do in the room as counselors is because we've had our own personal experiences as clients being handed those like gems of goodness that we can then receive for ourselves and then ultimately give to our clients. And I think that just speaks so much to your commitment and your belief in the work is that, hey, like I'm doing my own work. I've experienced this and I've been down this road before. This isn't something that like I'm going down blindly and how like reassuring is that for all your clients, you know? So that's awesome.
Yeah, I love the work. I'm very passionate about it. I have
Oh
to
yeah.
like, keep myself in check when I'm like out at social things because like a lot of my friends are therapists and it's like, well, we're off the clock and I'm like trying to just have fun with you, but also I love my job. Can we talk shop?
Yeah. It is kind of like that. Yeah, it's because it's really more than a job. It's
Yeah,
like a life. It's a way of life. It's a belief system. It's
yeah,
like, hey, I believe in healing and I'm committed to that inside and outside of the workplace. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing therapy on everybody I meet outside of my office, but like, yeah, like there's fun in talking about it and there's sometimes this natural bent to maybe ask questions that
it's, yeah.
normal or not even normal, but just like people who aren't therapists wouldn't necessarily talk about. That's like, oh, that's just kind of how we go. So,
I do have to explain that to people sometimes. Like, being a therapist is weird because your person is your job. Like that's part of our role as therapists is to show up as a person in the room to mirror back the humanity that we're seeing in clients. And so it's not something that I can just completely turn off even when I'm off the clock.
right, right, which is honestly a good thing because
Yeah.
what it says is that Lizzie, when you're in the room, you're bringing your authentic self. You're not just becoming some like title. you are Lizzie inside and outside of that room. And there are just specific boundaries and guidelines and contexts that come alongside when you're in the therapy room versus when you're not. Um, uh, with that, how can people get connected to you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty present online. I have an Instagram, although I haven't posted on it in quite a while, but I have an Instagram that's ERA_counseling. So you can follow me on Instagram. I also have a Facebook page, but the Facebook page posts the exact same things as Instagram. So I guess it's just your chosen social media that you prefer. And then I have a website. It's eracounselingnwa.com, and you can go there and read a little bit more about what I have to say about working with eating disorders and trauma. And then there's an interest form there, and my email and my phone number if you want to actually reach out and get in contact with me or are interested in booking sessions with me. Yeah.
Amazing. And curious too, like, are you working on any projects or are there any other things that you are involved in the area that people can get connected to or ways that they can get involved?
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, because eating disorders is an area of passion of mine, and for those who don't know, if you haven't had clinical training, like we don't get basically any training on eating disorders while we're in school. We touch on it, of course, but like not to the depth and degree that it needs to be taught in this day and age in school. Like I'm hoping that that's something that's going to be a trend as we move forward in time, that eating disorders become more of a point of education as we go through our master's programs. But in the meantime, I'm really passionate about advocating and educating in that area. So I do offer consultation for clinicians. If you see disordered eating popping up in your counseling room with some of your clients and you're just like, man, I don't know what to do, come see me. We'll have a chat about it. I offer consultation for clinicians who don't feel competent in that area. And I want to assure you, like, if you're seeing disordered eating in your room, like, you should be, because I think everyone has been impacted by it at some point. And just because you don't necessarily want to specialize in eating disorders doesn't mean you can't do good, effective work with someone who's experiencing disordered eating. So come talk to me. I want to empower you and encourage you that you are capable of doing this work. You just need to put a little more thought and intention into it. And I'd be happy to help you. I'd be happy to come alongside you and help you out with that. I also do provide trainings. I have provided a training in the past. It was a big, long 8-hour training on like eating disorder basics that went really, really great. I've taken a pause on that because I've got a lot going on in my personal life, but I would like to get back into like making some adjustments to that training and offering it to other clinicians in other places, or even like breaking it up into smaller, like, here, I can do a little 1-hour training at your staff meeting for your clinicians on like this specific topic within the world of disordered eating. So if you're wanting any kind of training or just increased awareness of disordered eating among your clinicians, reach out to me, and let's have a chat about how I can meet those needs.
Mm. Yeah, that's incredible. What a valuable resource to give to fellow clinicians. I'm not necessarily specialized in eating disorders, but I've gone to a training and super valuable. And you're totally right. Like you're going to encounter it.
Yes.
It's not an if, it's a when, and it's necessary to be properly informed and trained on how to um, really care for those people well. And even if it's not something that you work with as a clinician, to know what's available to refer those resources to your clients. So, love that you're offering that. Love that you're offering trainings. I think that that is super valuable to have you as someone in our area to provide that knowledge and that skill. and to continue to give others that opportunity as well to learn, to specialize. All of that is amazing. And yeah, great that like you're providing stuff for not only your clients but also clinicians, and that in turn serves both of them, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not in competition with any other therapists in the area. I don't understand that competition scarcity mindset at all. I want to be able to freely give the knowledge that I have, because when when we all have the knowledge, it means we're only just doing better for the clients in the area. Like, let's support each other to be the best we can be.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with you. Yeah. I've had people ask me like, Sarah, why are you promoting other counselors when you're a counselor? Like, are you like undermining yourself? And I'm like, actually, no. Like, we're a team, we're a
Yeah,
community. We
yeah,
all serve different people. We all have different personalities. Like you mentioned, it is like dating. And so the goal is for everybody to have access to a resource to meet a need. And there's a lot of need. So really, there isn't any scarcity in needing resources. And so I love that. It's yeah, we're building a community, we're building a bridge, we're building a network, so that we can all truly like lean on one another, grow together, and have just like a healthier and more loving environment. And so yeah, I'm with you in that. And so I'm glad that we get to be like partners in this journey.
me too. And like other people, and like my counselor came alongside me so that I can counsel people well. I have had people that have supported me in my career process so that I can pass things down to the people that are coming up behind me so that they can have successful independent careers. Like, there's no need to gatekeep this information. There are plenty of clients to go around. Everyone is going to be slightly different and be a different, better fit for certain people over others. Like, there's no need to be like fighting against each other.
Yeah. Yeah. The last thing I'll say about that is I remember, I think I had a couple of professors say this to me in graduate school of really ultimately we're trying to work ourselves out of a job.
Right.
Which, you know, I don't know if I believe that that's possible because everybody experiences pain and trauma at some point in their lives. So it'll probably be ongoing. But yeah, I mean, that's the hope, that's the goal is that we'll end up building communities that are stronger, healthier, more resilient, and continue to foster that, so that there is less of a intense, urgent crisis energy need
Mhm.
for kind of like, okay, we're gonna do like surgery or something. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I don't know that it's ever completely existentially possible to work ourselves out of the job because, like, even like within the same client's experience, like they may come to me to process one particular trauma and we may process through that, and then 5 years down the line they experience something else traumatic and we're right back into processing mode again. But yeah, there's always going to be new traumas. There's new people are being born every day who will then go on to experience traumas and hardships. And yes, but yeah, I've had clients like apologize to me before for like making good progress and then like wanting to terminate or wanting to like decrease their number of sessions, and I'm like, don't apologize. Like, that it's my job to work myself out of the job with
yeah.
you. Like, hire me by all means. Like,
Right. Right.
that's great.
Yeah. The goal is that eventually, like, this will happen where we
Yeah,
will
yeah.
have phases in and out where there's increase and decrease. And yeah. Um, Man, well, Lizzie, this has truly just been such a fun conversation, a joy to get to talk with you and hear more about what you're doing and how the community can get connected to you. You've got a lot of amazing opportunities that people can join in on. So again, if you guys were listening and you heard anything that like piqued your interest, feel free to reach out to Lizzie. She would be more than happy to connect you with other people or talk with you more about what that would look like to work with her as in a counseling client relationship or even just as peer to peer and coming alongside one another. So thanks so much, Lizzie.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.